Hello again, everybody. This is Mr. Everything, and I'm coming at you with another wargaming and miniature video. In this video, we're going to continue on with our flight school for Blood Red Skies. Blood Red Skies is Warlord Games' aerial dogfighting game. It's really easy to learn and pick up, and I've already done videos on all the rules. In this video, we're going to step into the scenario book. In the scenario book, it expands on some of the rules, so I want to make sure that I go over those as well. Okay, before we get started. In this video, we're going to do Scenario 1, Flight of the Intruder. No, it's actually called, what's it called? Scenario Intruder Flight. It's actually Scenario 0. We're going to do Scenario 0, Intruder Flight, in this video at the end of the flight school. Alright, so first thing, scenic markers. Okay, you have clouds. All right, there's some cloud markers that you can drop in on various places if you want to do cloud markers. There's also, on the back side of the clouds, you have barrage balloons. So, depending on the scenario, if there is barrage balloons, you could play them. There's six counters in the box set, and you flip them over for barrage balloons. Okay, and what do they do for you? Well, the clouds, moving into or through, removes any advantage or disadvantage. So if you're in a disadvantaged state and you are able to get into a cloud bank, you immediately go to neutral. Okay, so at any time that you're in the cloud, you'll always be at neutral. If you end your turn in clouds, you cannot take a pilot action, shoot, outmaneuver, or climb for advantage because you'll just be put right back to neutral. Shooting attacks and outmaneuvering may not be attempted into or out of clouds. So if I was out here, I can't outmaneuver you because, first of all, you can't see me. On your turn, if you burn advantage to get a dive, what will happen is you'll burn your advantage, you'll get the speed for the dive, the cloud will immediately put you back to neutral, and you get a free advantage burn. You don't want to have a whole lot of clouds because this game's about dogfighting and not about jumping into clouds. But if you and your partner agree on clouds, only use about 2 to 4 cloud markers on a 3-foot to 4-foot table. On a larger table, yeah, you might be able to use 6 or something like that. This is a 3x3 mat that I made for this game. It's felt. I painted fields, and that's basically it. Now, barrage balloons, that's the other side. Yeah, the barrage balloons, or more importantly, the cables that are at the bottom of the balloon all the way to the ground, serve as a hazard to low-flying aircraft. A disadvantaged plane that moves through an area of barrage balloons must pass a maneuver check or crash. And be careful to use barrage balloons and clouds. If it's in the scenario, then obviously use it. If not, then it's between you and your opponent to decide if you're going to use those or not. If you make up a scenario that has them in there, things like that, that's when you'll use them. Okay, and maybe D-Day invasion might have a lot of barrage balloons, or bombing of London might have barrage balloons, that kind of stuff. Now, the simplest way to choose forces for each side is just pick an equal number of planes, then roll for your pilot skills. Sometimes that leads to an imbalanced game, so that's just called pick and roll. But now you can purchase them for points on the back of the cards. On the back of the card, it'll show how many points they are. In this case, the 109E is 31 points. And then you can buy your pilot skill levels, starting at 2 for 25 points. So no matter what, you're always paying a little extra. You're paying the 25 points. And then you got regular, which is 50, veteran, which is 75, and an ace 5 is 100 points. Unless you pick a named ace like Pretty, he's actually 125 points. And normally as a guideline, they say 500 points is the way to go for an hour-long game. But if you want a longer game, like 1,000 points might get you a 2-hour game. And make sure, it says, if you want more points than that, make sure you got a large playing area and a couple of pizzas. All right, now you can choose your scenario. They have 5 scenarios if you count 0 as the first scenario. So you got 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4 in the scenario booklet. It comes with, now you can roll a die. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and ace are the skill choices. Now, depending on if it's early war or late war, each nation will have certain doctrines that they will use. That's explained in the doctrine cards. And then also, depending on what theater of operations and depending on what year it is, like Northwest Europe, Mediterranean, the Pacific, East Front, and then depending on if you're Axis or Allies, you'll have different theater cards. Now, some scenarios have special rules applied to them, like deploying by elements and high cover. Okay, when you deploy by element, it means that all the planes in that element have to be on the table facing in the same direction, so you can't have an element like that, right? You have to have the element facing in the same direction, and they have to be within 3 inches of each other. Or you have to be at least within 3 inches of another plane in your element. High cover. High cover elements are placed off the table, and you use the high cover element token, which is the triangle. That's the high cover element, and this is off table, and you place it next to wherever they are off the table, and then they take their actions after all the other planes have taken their action, and then they either move the element along the table edge 9 inches, right, up to 9 inches and save it for a later turn, or you can move all the planes from that element 1 inch onto the table from the point currently marked. So, like, if that's where they were and you want to, on the end of the turn, decide to move them on, you basically just put them on the table, because 1 inch is like super small. All right, so let's get into intruder flight. Okay, in this scenario, let me tell you a little bit about the scenario. They were high-speed, usually high-altitude fights made by individual aircraft onto enemy airspace. They were undertaken by a variety of purposes: weather and photographic reconnaissance, nuisance bombing, hit-and-run raids, or even the purpose of attacking enemy planes over their own airfields as they took off or landed. Interception of an intruder usually came down to 1 or 2 planes that managed to scramble fast enough to catch the fast-moving menace. Each player can deploy a maximum of 1 element, and the element can comprise of 1 or 2 planes from the same squadron. Deployment sequence. The player that has the least number of planes deploys first in an intruder flight. If numbers are equal, each player rolls a die, and the higher one deploys. Okay, and they basically become the intruder. The intruder element may be deployed anywhere within the length of a movement, so 9 inches from the edge. Then the enemy deploy the interceptors, if you'd like to call them, and then when both players have deployed their elements, we roll a die to see who is at what starting advantage level. Okay, so just to do it real quick, this is really just to show the scenario rules. I'm going to put him right here. I'm just going to put him right in the center, facing straight ahead, right? Okay, and then I'm going to put these guys within 9 inches of my table edge, and I'm going to deploy them by element. So I'm going to make sure that I've got them deployed. All right, in this scenario, then I roll for advantage level. So I roll a die for him, and a 1 or a 2 is disadvantage, 3 or 4 is neutral, and a 5 or 6 is advantage. So I just happen to be screwed in a disadvantaged state. Now we roll for this guy. Okay, in this scenario, elements of aircraft that do not have great climb get a -1 on the die roll. So he would have got a -1 on the die roll. Okay, so he would have crashed. No. But these guys have great climb. So we roll for this guy. It does say roll for each plane. So that's neutral. That's a 4. And that's an ace. He has advantage level. That's kind of expected, right? All right. Okay, now there's some special rules here. It says recon. An intruder player may opt to use a twin engine plane. He may also opt to use a specially stripped down high-speed reconnaissance type of whatever plane is chosen. This reduces the plane's firepower to 0, but adds +1 to its speed. Okay. Right. Okay, leaving the battle area. If a plane leaves the table, it leaves the scenario altogether and may not return. The intruder's plane can win a victory by exiting from the opposite table edge to one where they deployed. So if I'm able to get this plane, the intruder, off of this side of the table, then I win with the Spitfire, the intruder. Game length. It lasts forever. The scenario continues until all planes of one player retreat or have left the table. Victory. The intruder player wins by exiting his planes from the opposite table edge. The intercepting player wins by preventing this. Victory can also be achieved by driving off the opposing squadron via shot down planes and accumulated boom chits. All right, now as normal, when you accumulate a number of boom chits greater than your number of airplanes on your side, then you retreat. Basically, you leave. Okay, but they have a recommended scenario forces. They say the RAF photo reconnaissance over France, April 1941. Intruder, RAF. One squadron of one element comprising of one Spitfire. With the recon conversion detailed above, counts as a Spitfire Mark IV 3. Okay, he's got a 3 piloting skill level is what he's saying. He has a tight turn, radar support, clear size, and high altitude advantage. Where the interceptors are the Luftwaffe, one squadron, one element comprising of 2, one with a 4 and one with a 3, and that's what we got out here. Trait cards, great dive, great climb. Theater card, radar support, heavy flak presence, and doctrine is seasoned pilots. Okay, so he has a firepower of 0, but he does have a pilot skill of 3, so he can shoot with a 3. He just doesn't get to add his firepower. All right, guys, so we are ready to get rocking and rolling. You go by activating a fighter, and it's based on activation levels. Okay, so now I look at my theater card and see if any of them say play like immediately. That's what I'm looking for. The tight turn I know I won't be. Yeah, play this card during deployment. Okay, so that is radar support. Clear skies. Play this card during deployment. Okay. So basically, every turn, I'm going to have high altitude performance and tight turn because I get to draw 3 cards. Okay, radar support says, make a maneuver test for each friendly airplane. Any that score a success automatically begin the game with advantage. Okay, so we'll definitely do that. I've got a 3 and an agility of 3 because that's the pilot. Nope, pilot test is just your skill. Okay, not a dodge or anything. So I'm going to roll for my spit. I've got a success. He automatically starts with advantage. Boop, boop, boo. Don't have to roll. Silliness. Okay. Clear skies. Remove up to 2 cloud markers of your choice from the table. Okay, so if there were clouds, I could pull them off. There aren't any. I don't care. Okay. What about the Jerrys? Okay, the Germans have play this card during deployment. Radar support. Make a maneuver test for each friendly plane that scores a success. Automatically begin the game with advantage. Okay, simple enough. We're going to roll for, he's already at advantage, never mind. We're going to roll for him. He's got a 3. We've got to look. Boom, he's at advantage also. Okay, that was simple enough. radar support. Heavy flak presence. This says, in reaction to a disadvantaged enemy plane activating. Okay, so I'll have to draw that card. Climb, great dive, and seasoned pilots. Okay, so I've got 4 cards in my hand, and at the beginning of the game, at the beginning of the turn, I have to. Now, this is where I don't like the fact that they're different. So what I'm trying to do, that I can tell. I know what my aircraft trait cards are. I know what my doctrine is. I know what my theater is. So I should, unless this doesn't say. You would think that this would also be play in the card during deployment, but okay, whatever. Maybe there's some flak in some areas in the area, but maybe not right here. Okay, I'm trying not to look at the cards. I'm going to shuffle them and then move one off to the side, and these are the 3 that I have. There we go. Now he's got both of those. Okay, so everybody's at advantage. So whoever has the highest piloting skill will go first. This guy has a 4. So he's going to go first. What I want to do is give this guy 2 boom chits before he gets a chance to get off this table, right? Obviously. So I am going to not shoot. Then I'm going to go to burn advantage. I'm going to do that. I'm going to dive, burn advantage. Gives me an additional 6 inches. Okay, I'm going to give him a great dive, which basically means on the plane, this trait burning advantage to dive. Add the plane's maximum move instead of 6. So instead of 7, I'm adding 7, so I'm moving 14. So that would be 11 plus 3. Okay, he burned advantage. He moved. Now I could turn up to 45 degrees at the end of my turn. I think I'm just going to leave it, doesn't matter. And then I'm going to go pilot action. I can't shoot him because he's higher than I am, right? But I can outmaneuver him because we're within 9 inches, right? I can outmaneuver the guy as long as we're within 9 inches. So we compare pilot skill to reduce enemy's advantage level by 1. Okay, so I reduced his enemy's advantage level by 1 because I'm higher advantage than he is. Higher pilot skill, that's what I meant. Alright, so now it's advantage 3. So advantage 3, I could move and then shoot, but I would be way out of range. So what I'm going to do is dive and move twice. Well, move 7 and 6, which is 13. So there's 11. Ooh. He almost caught up with that great dive. But now from here I can shoot, I could outmaneuver again, or I could climb. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to climb. Because I can't shoot him. We're at even levels. Even levels can't shoot. Okay. Now finally the British, the RAF gets to go. He is, right, his objective is not to dogfight. It's not to fight. It's to try to get off the table edge. So he's going to burn advantage to dive, right? Just so he could get, what is his high performance? It says, on an advantaged friendly plane using the outmaneuver pilot action. Pilot gains +2 to their skill for the attempt. Okay, that doesn't help. Tight turn, don't care. Clear skies, radar support, don't care. Okay, so I'm just diving away. Here we go. So I have a 7 as well, and then I have an extra 6 for diving, but because I'm the recon guy, I get an extra +1 speed, right? adds +1 to its speed. So actually my speed is 8, and then I dive, that adds 6, so I have what, 14? Wow. Okay. $11, and 3 more is 14. Okay, so he's got 14. He's cruising. Now at the end of his turn, I could try to outmaneuver. No, I can't. Yeah, I could outmaneuver one of those guys, or I could climb to get advantage. I think I'm going to climb. Wait, was I neutral or was I advantage? I guess I was at advantage. So, no, I was at neutral. So to dive, I had to go down to disadvantaged, and then climbing brings me back to neutral. All right, so that's the end of the turn. We shuffle the cards. We draw one of these two, put it back in our hand, or, yeah, just draw one more. Boop, there it is, great climb. Like, yay, I got a great climb, I don't care. All right, so, so who's at advantage? Well, this joker's at advantage. So he could burn his advantage to turn up to 180 degrees, and that's what he's going to do. He's going to burn advantage, turn 180 degrees immediately. Actually, it doesn't matter. Yeah, because I can move. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to burn advantage, turn 180 degrees immediately. I could have moved forward a little bit, then turned around and came back, but it doesn't matter because I'm just moving 7. So 7, and I don't have to move the full 7. I can swap it out with a slower speed, which I'm going to do. I'm only going to move 5. I'm right on the guy's tail. And now, because I'm tailing, before we go to pilot actions, okay, a plane counts as tailing an enemy when it finishes its movement with its facing arrow directly towards the enemy arc. Tailing reduces the enemy plane to a disadvantaged state immediately. So if he was advantaged or disadvantaged, it doesn't matter. He's basically in a disadvantaged position. Okay, the plane cannot climb or what? Okay, right, got it. Okay, so by getting on his tail like that, I forced him to get into a disadvantaged position. So when it comes to pilot actions, now I can either climb back to advantage or I could shoot him. Okay, I'm going to shoot him. So of course I'm going to shoot him. Okay, so my shooting is 3 piloting plus 1 from the plane, giving me a total of a hit. Okay, so that's a boom chit for the Spitfire. And then he has to make a dodge test or be shot down because he's at disadvantage. So his dodge is his maneuvering, which is 3, and his piloting skill, which is 3. And all I have to do is get 1 boom chit. Come on. Okay, or 1 ace is what I meant. Okay, so I'm not shot down. All right, so who would be next? Well, he's at disadvantaged. He's already acted, so he will go. If I was at advantage, I could burn advantage, turn around, and shoot him. But because for me to do a 180 degree turn at the end or beginning of my turn, I wouldn't be in a shooting position. So what I will do is burn advantage to do a 180 degree turn up to 180 degrees. It doesn't have to be 180 degrees. I'm going to angle it in a little bit. And then I will maneuver, and this time I'm going to maneuver my full 7. Dodging past him. And then during my pilot action, I'm going to climb. Boop. Ha-ha. Okay. So now, the last one to go is disadvantaged planes, which is the Spitfire, but the Germans play heavy flak presence. Play in reaction to a disadvantaged enemy plane activating. Okay, it's activating. Roll a deflection shooting attack against the aircraft using 3 dice. Okay, so I roll 3 dice. I got no hits. Dang. Okay. If I had gotten a hit, then he would have gotten a dodge using his speed and his piloting skill, not his maneuvering, because it would have been considered a deflection shot. And then that's discarded. Okay. Okay. All right, so we have a plane that is at disadvantage, cannot burn advantage to move, but it can't dive because it's already balls to the ground, so he's just going to run. Okay, so but he's fast, so he moves 8. Right, so we line it up, move him 8, and because he doesn't want them to be tailing him, he moves 45 degrees to the right and then climbs to get advantage. Okay, when he goes to climb, boop, to get 1 level up, they play Great Climb. In reaction to an enemy plane within 12 inches, climbing for advantage, the enemy plane must pass a maneuver test to succeed. Okay, a maneuver test is your dodge, which in his case is 3, plus his piloting skill, which is 3. He made it, so he was able to climb. Okay. So that's what a Great Climb does. The Great Climb doesn't help you. It basically prevents them from climbing because you climb better than them. Okay, so that's everybody activated. Now it's a new turn. They get their cards back again. They have to draw a card. Well, no. Yeah, they have to draw 2 cards actually. Okay, let me look away. Let me... And boom, they get these 2. They get Great Climb back and Heavy Flak Presence. Okay, yay. Okay. Okay, who's at advantage? Nobody, right? So it goes by his piloting skill. He starts the turn by seeing if he's in range. He is. He shoots. He lines it up. He gets 5 dice. 4 for his piloting. No, I'm sorry. He does not shoot. They're at the same altitude level. You're not allowed to shoot neutral to neutral. Okay. He's also not tailing him. Okay. So, how does he want to do this? Well, he can't shoot. He doesn't need to burn advantage. Yes, he's going to set this guy up. So he's going to, even though they have a chance, who goes first? He'll go first. That's some bullshit. Because he's got an 8 speed and he's only got a 7 speed. So he'll actually go first. Okay, so I was thinking I would burn advantage to maneuver up to 180 degrees at the end of my turn, or at some point during my turn. And so, yeah, burn advantage, move. So I'm gonna go ahead and move. I was angled in. I'm gonna go ahead and move my 7, right? And then I'm going to use my 180 degree turn that I got, which was there. Okay, and then I'm going to pilot action, outmaneuver him. Haha! I didn't think of that, but that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to outmaneuver him. He's automatically at disadvantage. It doesn't matter if I'm in front of him, behind him, or anywhere. If as long as I'm within 9 inches, which is the length of this ruler, and I've got a pilot skill higher than his, I can bring him down to disadvantaged. That's some bullshit. But okay. And then, who's next? Well, he's next because he's at disadvantage. There it is. Because that slowed him down. So I'm going to see if I can shoot first. Oh, dang, I'm out of range. Okay, so I just have to move forward and shoot his ass. Okay, so we're just going to move forward 7. I'm not burning advantage or anything to speed up because, oh, I'm in his flank. So that's a deflection shot, but that's okay. I'm taking it. Pilot skill of 3, gunnery of 1. All I need is a boomy. Come on, boom! No booms. Dang. Okay, is there anything that's a seasoned pilots? No. No. Okay, so last one to go is him. They're going to play heavy flak presence. It gets 3 dice to try to hit him. You got a hit. Okay, a hit basically gives him a boom chit whether he dodges or not. Because he gets a boom chit, they've lost. Because he has one more boom chit than he has planes on his side. And that's the end of the scenario. You saw how it was done. Alright guys, well I'm going to play scenario 1 in the next video. I don't know when that will be. But come back and check that out. I'll catch you next time.